and welcome to Decorate It. My name is Mary, and this is Wes, and tonight is episode 16. We're talking about wood grips tonight. We haven't done a whole lot of wood grips in the past.
Not too much. We've done that one inlay that you did, and then you started on another one recently.
Yep. I've got the wood burned one with basswood and the Claro walnut. And
Didn't you do another wood burned one, or was that on cork?
No, I actually haven't done anything else. Those are the only two that I've done.
Must have been on cork.
We were practicing when we got the wood burner.
Yeah, that's it.
On that spare cork that we had.
Yeah. So what are some of the things that you enjoy about working with wood in particular compared to the other mediums?
Well, it's different. This grip with the wood burning on it, I put together with G10 also and Claro walnut. So 3 different kinds of things. And I had to go get different epoxy because you're putting basically fiberglass mixed in between wood. So wood glue's not going to work. So I had to get I think I got the West Marine Systems.
I think it's underneath here.
Yeah, it is. I bought the smallest one possible because it was for one grip. That was a messy thing. I wasn't thinking, because obviously it looks just like the epoxy we put on our rods, but I wasn't thinking about how it was going to be to apply it because I'm so used to doing contact cement and it just being like, let it dry, slap it on there, call it a day kind of thing. But
so I noticed you said you had added G10 to it. What would you describe G10 as for some people that don't know what it is?
It's G10 is basically the colored inserts that you put in, like a lot of knife guys use it. It's just like, it's a fiberglass mixture or a composite kind of thing.
What about like micarta?
I don't know because I haven't worked with micarta,
Okay.
Because I was talking to Lori. Lori does a lot of different mixtures in her stuff, too. She's worked with Juma and micarta and a bunch of other things. And she says they all have their different little dramas and issues and stuff like that. So, well, they all have their own characters and things they need.
When working with wood, would you say that there is a particular material that you would not match up to put with the wood?
I don't know. I've only had the experience of that one of, you know what I'm saying?
So what I'm referring to is like if, say you want to do different materials in your grip. So be it wood and acrylic or wood and cork or wood and Juma or wood and foam.
Okay.
Would you put wood and foam together being complete opposite densities?
No, I wouldn't do that.
Why is that?
Because that's going to be a nightmare as far, not necessarily as like turning it or building it. It's just the texture differences and where.
Well, turning it in particular, and as far as sanding it, is going to be a bigger issue just because of pressure.
Well,
if you happen to slip and hit that foam, it's going to dig it out.
You can't turn it as the same. You have to turn it in different sections and then glue it together, and then do kind of a clean sand and just hope for the best.
Light sand.
Very light sand. Very, very light sand. Your wood grip that you've worked on.
Which one?
The only one that you've done. That was our International Challenge build. The fly rod.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yours.
Yeah. Sorry. I always forget that bark and things of that nature are considered a wood product.
It's wood.
Because typically, when you hear wood grips, you think basswood and purple heartwood and all the, ironwoods and all these fancy names and colors and grains, and you don't think that birch bark, but birch bark is a wood form of grip. So
it's just a thinner version of it,
right. Now, when working with birch bark, how is it different from working with wood?
You tell me that. That was your grip
so
that you did.
When we did the birch bark, we used the Gorilla Glue expanding.
Why?
Preface that, it's messy.
But why did you use it?
Because I was told to.
No. No, but what was the reasoning behind it?
Because it forms such a strong bond with the birch bark itself.
And it fills in all the extra
holes and voids. Yep. And it turns into that natural kind of wood color because it is that tan coloring on it. But just beware, that was some messy.
It expands.
And it don't just, think spray foam expands. It's double to triple what you put on there.
Very little goes a long way. And then
careful.
Up. When you do birch bark, you have to do it. Usually, get it in sheets. You don't ever get it, so you have to cut
so what I did was cut it into squares, and then take those squares and stack them, and then treat them like cork rings. Do each side and stack and stack and stack and stack and stack. But what I did prior to that was I actually went in and punched out the center hole so that I could put all thread through it with wax don't you dare put all thread with the foaming glue and not wax that thing beforehand. Ask me how I know.
Ah, how do you know?
There's still a fail running around here somewhere, unless we throw it away. But then once you do that, it's just like turning cork or anything else. Now, once it's turned, be delicate.
It's super fragile.
We had to fix that grip 3 different times before we were finished.
It kept
Because we would go to take it off, and it would snap because I'd put too much pressure going down instead of just going straight. It is very delicate, but it feels amazing when you're done.
It does feel amazing. But that's one of the reasons why I'm not a fan of like trying to play with birch bark, because that one was just like infuriating.
I love it though because
it looks so good.
It looks so good, and we put teak oil on that one,
We put
and
teak
then a sealer over top of it, and it gave it a very
It's like
velvety feel almost.
That's what I used for the burned one I did.
Mm-hmm.
That one has 2 coats of the teak oil.
Mm-hmm.
Like one, leave it on there for 30
I
minutes.
think I
wipe
did
it
like
off.
10 coats.
You went a different route with yours. I did mine with, I did 1 coat on there, wiped it off after 30 minutes, 2nd coat after 15, let it dry overnight, and then I went down the terrible path of putting true oil on it, 20 coats, and you had to do 1 coat, let it dry for 2 hours, and then come back with steel wool, sand it off, reapply 20 times. And the finish on it feels amazing.
It does.
But
that's a pain in the ass.
it was very time consuming. Absolutely time consuming, but absolutely worth it. I would have been able to get through that in probably like 1 or 2 days if I wasn't having to stop to go pick up the oldest from school or go, cook breakfast, get snacks, do all this other stuff. So
now you get to go through that process a little bit more because it chipped.
Yeah, because it did chip. Yeah, we were.
Sorry.
I had Wes inlet the reel seat because I messed up drilling center. It was just a tiny bit off. So when we chucked it up to the lathe to use a Foster bit, it was doing the shimmy shake, and it was going to tear up the whole thing. And I was like, we can't do that way. So we tried the drill press. That was sketch.
So then I sat right here.
He did do it for me.
For an hour and 15 minutes with a Dremel.
He used a Dremel to cut it out and had an accident. I'm not mad at him because you know what?
It slipped one time, but that one time chipped it.
He sat there for an hour and a half doing what I didn't want to do. But it's just a little bit of sanding. At this point, I can get it sanded down the way it's supposed to be. I can get the reel seat and the grip glued on, and I can be doing the coatings and stuff while I'm working on the guide wraps, because all I have are guide wraps on that and some trims. Because
there's nothing really else decorative.
No, because it's a 2/8. I'm not putting anything else in.
That'd be really pretty with silk, by the way.
Yeah, I've not had great experience with silk, though. Every time I use silk, there's still some translucent, like you can kind of see it. And I'm not a fan because I know that it's supposed to disappear 100%. And I know I'm doing something wrong. Like, I know I am. And I've tried looser tension. I've tried tighter tension. I've tried thinning the epoxy. I've done all kinds of stuff. And I'll get somewhat decent results when I go to test it. I go to put it on the rod like I did for your
decade-long project.
Shut up. For Hulkbuster. And you could see some of the silk. And it's like, what is wrong? But anyways, it's a long, drawn-out rant about some random stuff.
Before we jump into this, talking about wood grips, there's soft and hard ones and everything in between, because we actually learned this here recently. There's as soft as you want to go is like the basswood type. Balsa wood is too soft, but basswood and anything above. As far as going beyond that, the harder it is to turn and shape, but it also gives you a better sanding experience. Because you saw with the basswood,
it's soft.
It gives those fibers.
You get fibers, but you get them cleaned off. Steel wool does really good on the softwoods.
But once you start getting into like heartwoods and iron ores and things like that, you start getting into a lot more expensive of material. So start out with your basswoods and some of the softer things before you jump into, hey, I'm going to spend $300 on this piece of wood that's this big.
Don't do it. And the other thing is make sure your tool is super sharp. And make sure you are locked down when you're holding.
If you don't know how to sharpen tools, go on YouTube. Get you a bench grinder. Sharpen your tools. Do not try to turn wood with dull tools.
Seriously though, like it's precautions, face masks, the whole shebang.
Take your rings off. Take your jewelry off.
Don't do long sleeves.
Take your sleeves off.
Pull them up. Make sure they're secure. Like hair back if you got long
PPE.
hair.
Just
Wood is no
PPE.
joke. Like wood will knock you out. Wes, and the reason why he's doing that is because he's preaching about sharpening the tools. Is
Mary tried without.
I tried without. I got super scared because it grabbed the tool, and I managed to get it away, and I was like, I'm not feeling this right now. And I actually gave myself some time to calm it down because that was a serious heart attack, because
it'll scare you.
You can literally get, and I had the whole shebang on. Like, I knew going into it, this was going to be dangerous.
There's videos all over the place online where people are turning wood for bowls and everything else, or spindles, and it'll explode on them, or their tool will have a not so sharp spot, and it'll catch. Mm-hmm. Let it go if it catches.
Yeah, but duck.
Let it happen.
It could throw it. Like, I've heard stories where vandals have been thrown through people's roofs. Like, there's some scary stuff. We are working with, obviously, hype machinery. Now, we're going to step down from scolding you guys because we're definitely not the people to be sitting here going, be safe, because we do some sketch stuff ourselves, hence trying to drill press with a freaking Offner bit.
This is not something, unless you're getting pre-turned, like just tubes, you're going to need a wood lathe in order to take blocks or cut down a piece of wood and do this with.
Oh, and like gouging, a gouging tool is what you need to start with, not necessarily the skew. Mm-hmm. And if you're scared about the corners and stuff, just take the corners off.
Yep.
Make it like an octagon shape.
Makes it so much easier
on your bandsaw or something like that, because it
turn it almost round.
It will be
with
so much safer and easier to do. But let's showcase all of this awesome stuff that the Southern Rod Builders contributed tonight, because one of the reasons why we like to bring in other people's work is because we have limited knowledge on this stuff. There's no way that we do all these things, The other thing is, all these people are doing such great work. They deserve to have a little bit of, hey, here's what's
and it's different styles too.
Different styles, like we've got stuff from Wayne Didick in there, and Bill Goings, and a whole. I can't even name all these people, but let's take a look at what they contributed tonight. And we're actually starting with Bill Goings. And this is a Hollywood, not like Hollywood, like, movie stars, but Hollywood Tennessee handle that he's turned. Another one of Bill Goings. So this is matching olive split grips. What I enjoy seeing out of all of these photos and stuff, because I've got very minuscule knowledge of wood because we just started playing around with it. But all the textures and the wood grain and the fibers and the different colors and stuff.
I like seeing the different lights and darks based on the wood grain.
Yeah, like this. I like this wood because it has the texture to it. And you don't have to do a whole lot of detail with it because it's already detailed, if that makes sense.
Yep.
More Bill Goings. So this is
This makes me think classic restoration.
Not sure what that wood is, but it's a very pretty wood. And he's obviously done a lot of, coating it and making sure it looks really good. Just beautiful work. Bill Goings, this is flame wood. And you can, if we zoom in on it, you can kind of see how it kind of got that name for how it looks. Another one of Bill Goings. So that is Hollywood for the end caps of this one. And he was obviously working on like a tiger that kind of glowed in the dark. Bobby Wade.
I wonder, with the Hollywood being so white, I wonder if you could coat that with a UV reactive epoxy.
What, make it change colors?
Yeah, so that it glows in the night. Because it's so white, it would help charge it.
Maybe.
Bill, I'm going to need you to try that.
Bobby Wade was working with some wood and acrylic, and I think this is basically referred to as stabilized wood when they do this way. So
because you have to pour it and pull it under pressure.
He was turning those so that he could bracket them between burnt burl cork. So those are two sides, and then he's going to put the cork on with it. Brian's. So this is just a lot of times we see wood and stabilized woods and mixtures of stuff in the real seats, in the inserts. And I just particularly like this combination between that light.
Because it has teal in it.
It's got the teal in it. I mean, but it's that bright to dark. I don't know what the contrast for me is a big thing. But you can see all the different grains in the wood. It's just pretty. Brian once again, another really beautiful done grip. Looks like he's mixed cork with a stabilized piece in the middle. So that's, to me.
With some burl on the outside.
Yeah, like these kind of grips, you've got a ton of work in these. Mm-hmm. Tons of work because you've got to get everything to shape before you put it.
This is going to make me make another birch bark grip.
I'm telling you, we're going to leave the show going, I got to do more wood, more of Brian's work. First, a really cool aesthetic.
This one deceives me because how the dark is on the top, it looks like the middle actually dips in, but it's actually part of the Wells grip.
Yep. Another one of those beautiful pieces done there, and then going down to where I have to zoom in on this insert on the butt, like this little section. Because look at that.
That's
It's just
pretty.
a gorgeous piece of wood, stabilized wood. Just gorgeous. Very, very nice work. Christopher Bohr, another really cool set of wood grips. But this is just a nice mixture of just mixing different woods, solid pieces, and then putting a couple trims in between just to kind of break it up. Just nicely done. Another one of Christopher's again. So he's got some side shapes going in there where he's cut it at an angle, and then it's made the little elliptical. Well, it's not quite an elliptical, but it's just the single.
Yep.
So
And all the
little-
designs that you see on other grips can be done in wood.
I mean, pull cues are a great example of where you can start figuring out patterns and stuff. I mean, any pattern that they're doing with wood can be translated into grips. This is another one. I like this one because you see the darker pieces inside the wood. To me, that's one of those personal things that I just like. I like to see the grain, smooth grain, but the grain. And for some reason, that really light color looks so good with red, in my opinion. This is Christopher's again, another version. This one's got kind of little polka dots in some areas. I wish I knew exactly what all these woods were,
Right.
but not everybody included the details. They just would put the photo up, which is fine. We still get to admire their work.
Is that a feather?
David Alexander. Okay, fun fact about David Alexander is he does not have a lathe. This is the one that is a 500-year-old poplar with turkey feathers.
I thought it was feathers.
Look at that down there.
So
Yeah.
what does he mean by he
doesn't-
carves it?
He hand carves this down to shape and then sands
I
it.
could see that.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Look how pretty those feathers are on there. I saw that and I thought, what is that? Because when I first glanced at it, it looked like a pattern had been put into it. And he just put feathers on top of it. So really awesome work, especially for somebody who's sitting down and like basically whittling this stuff down to the size it needs to be and then sanding it. Like, disproves your point earlier where you have to have a lathe.
Yeah, you don't have to have one, but
Obviously, this is a time-consuming. Well, it depends on the wood. Softer woods, it's not going to take as long. Obviously, you try to do something really hard, it's probably not safe.
right.
Another one of David Alexander's. This one was mahogany, and that metal piece he actually got from a jeweler's and put it on after he got it to shape with some Pro Paste or Rod Bond or something like that. You can do a solid piece of wood and add something on the outside of it if you wanted to. The possibilities are endless. Don Schaefer.
That ain't wood.
This is
Come
wood.
on, Don.
He didn't paint it this
Got to
time.
give you a hard time.
But you gotta admit, the man got.
He can make it look like
But
wood.
look at the blank.
Like,
It doesn't look like it looks just like it's an endless piece of wood. And then the rail seat.
we've got one sitting in the shop, and I'm gonna tell you,
It looks like wood.
if you don't want to do wood but want wood look, Don can make it happen.
Yeah, Don Schaefer.
Like,
Yep, Don Schaefer is our go-to guy for custom painted rail seats and blank backbone custom rods. But I mean, that literally, he could not have done that any better. Like, it just looks like one fluid piece. Like, that's insane. This one is one of my favorites by Eric Taylor, mainly because of the perfection of matching the wrap to the grips.
so did he say what the material was in the wood?
He did not, but this is some of that multicolored wood that is now available. But this one is like the charcoal background with like blues and greens, and then a perfect sparkler wrap to match, and then his other grip, like, just
Looks good.
aesthetics of this one is just on point because I mean it's bright bold colors. We're not sticking to just the normal natural woods or anything, but it's still wood. And he made wood match up with his wrap perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
All right, another one of Eric Taylor. So Eric Taylor, obviously very gifted when it comes to working with wood. He's done a bunch of different slices on this stuff. He's got the elliptical with an added like circle around it. I know there's an exact name for that pattern, but I don't know what it is.
I don't remember what it is either.
I mean, when I looked at this reminds me of pool cue.
And it's got the metal inlays, it looks like.
Like, this is just, Eric Taylor's very talented when it comes to working with wood. It's very nice. And, like, everything has a trim. Everything has a trim. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one of Eric Taylor's. This is when I actually first took notice of him because I actually saw some of his
Now
work.
we're gonna be doing another wood grip one, and he's coming on. I
And-
don't care.
Yeah. He posted this at Mudholes,
Yeah.
the live Rod Builders page.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I thought, oh my gosh. So this is a Harley Davidson build. But he's done, I mean, it's just a massive amount of work. Gems. I don't know what wood this is, but it's pretty. And he got it tapered down really nicely to the blank.
Looks like they're all stacked together.
Stacks of different wood to get that kind of look. Another great place to get inspiration from is also the knife guys because they do a lot of this stacking So Lance's comment was nothing complicated, just some stabilized wood and acrylic. But I
Always
love that.
Lance.
I love that dark with that light. I think that looks so good. Mark Krause coming in with bringing up the autism grip that he did last year. And I had the same one, but I didn't make it, so I didn't include it. But it was in the colored version. And we both built them for autism anglers. This one, each of those little puzzle pieces are actually a laminate that he put on there. So they were all cut by a laser by Thomas Snyder. They were all sent to Mark. Mark put them on the rod, but he had to like wet them to bend them, and he broke quite a few, so they had a lot of extra pieces in order to get him to do that. A lot of time in that for sure, but freaking gorgeous.
Hell of a lot of time.
Hell of a lot of time. I had a bunch of people asking me if I could do that, and I said no. I can't do that. I wasn't the one that made the puzzle pieces. Another one of Mark Krause's. This is a wood burned one where he's put this amazing fish on here.
Isn't that the one that he put the eggs in?
No, I don't think that's the one with the eggs because the butt's different. Another wood burn.
No, this is the
one.
eggs.
This is the one that Mark hates me for. Because down here at the left,
It's right there.
where the butt cap is, he actually embedded some fish eggs.
Thanks to Mary.
Thanks to Mary, and I'll never live it down.
And her big mouth.
I was just talking. I didn't say that. I was like, yeah, you can put all kinds of stuff in the butt cap.
You
like,
could put fish eggs, and he said, "Ooh, could you put trout eggs in it?"
Mark has hated me every day since then. Because the customer was like, yeah. And he went through so many casts of trying to get the eggs in there and the hook and everything. He was so mad at me. He says he's going to get me back, and I'm kind of concerned. This is one that I saw of Mark's before we actually knew him at the show. But he's got a spider web on the rear grip and then a spider in the center of it so where it kind of tapers down. He makes knives too and rod cases to go with his stuff. And then the insert for the reel seat is also wood as well. Another one of Mark's really cool shapes that he put on this one.
The contours.
Mm-hmm.
Really nice.
And then had it fit to the reel seat with a short little foregrip. Another beautiful with gorgeous herringbone. You were working on one, weren't you?
I was doing it with
you were doing
cork and EVA.
You need to finish that.
I need to finish a lot of things.
Hey, look, there's mine. So this is actually the photo I shared literally yesterday where I had just gone, hey, look, we got the reel seat in, but this is the pretty side, not the side that's got the chip. But this one, light wood in the middle, is the basswood with the G10. That's those colored liners at the bottom, and then the Claro walnut. That was an experience in itself, and also that requires a respirator. Otherwise, you will get sick. So everything done on this one, we had to be very cautious that the kids weren't running in and out of the shop. There's another one of mine. So this is the infamous metal inlay that Mary did a long time ago. It's been like 3 years, I think. Three
or four.
I can't remember. I don't even remember what wood this is on, to be honest. I bought some specifically for this, but it was so long ago I don't remember what it was. But it's a hardwood, and I stained it so it looks like that. And this is not the greatest or prettiest example of a metal inlay because I was picking something that was very, very complicated to do for me trying to do it for the first time because Alice doesn't know when to stop. I would like to go back and try it again because I got inspired to do this from, I've seen other people do metal inlays. Mark.
It was 4 years ago because you wanted to do it in Gatsby theme because it was 2020.
Yeah, I was going to do it for 2020,
and
but
then
they
pushed
had
back.
pushed it back because we couldn't do it because of COVID, and then I was going to come with 21 because it was the Roaring 20s.
Yep.
I could technically still do a version of this. I just have to change the
You got
style
6
now.
years.
Yeah, I got 6 years to the 20s in, so. But metal inlays are fun. I've talked about them in a couple seminars and stuff like that and how to do them. Not too complicated, but I don't recommend going around the curve like I was trying to do here. This is by Matthew, another really beautifully done, just gorgeous wood. He had stabilized maple burl or hybrids, depending on which photo we were looking at. Just pretty. Michael Downs, so he actually told us what all of his woods were, and this is crabapple. And he's got a red color like running through it. Michael Downs. Guess what that one is, Wes?
Birch bark.
Birch bark. This is why I like birch bark. Because of the rings and the aesthetic.
I just love how it freaking feels.
It feels awesome, but I don't like how easy it is to break. And we're not exactly the easiest people on things sometimes. But, it's nice. It's a gorgeous little fly blank where he's put a lot of time and effort into the insert and that grip. And then that blank is like a
natural fiberglass.
Natural. He's got it propped up on a antler. Another one of Michael Downs. This one's Buckeye Burl. He's mixed regular cork with the composite or the burl cork. This one's the other rhododendron. And that one's got a really cool acrylic insert too. This one is rhododendron with sand inlay from Cheat River. Look how pretty that is with the natural green. A sand inlay? A sand inlay. I want to know what a sand inlay is. Because I wrote it down, but I didn't get a chance to go back and go, what is that? Like, did he mix it with just...
You want me to call him right now and ask him?
No, I don't want you to call him right now. But, like, did he mix it with epoxy or resin or something and then let it harden and turn it?
I don't know.
Because that gives me ideas. I'm getting on to Nick. So Nick's got a lot of these different colored woods. But this one's got kind of a tan with blue and darker blue. Here's another one of Nick. So this one's really pretty. Not sure exactly all the things that are involved in it. That kind of gold color at the top mixed with a trim, darker wood.
Makes me think of the topper to a very high-end whiskey bottle.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty cool. And then the Rasta ones mixed with cork and some trims put in there. Like, it's good-looking stuff.
I really like those colored pencils that people are doing.
Mm-hmm. Where you put all the colored pencils together with resin and then turn it. So this is more of Nick's work. Look at this. I mean, I might have to start working with some wood just because I didn't realize all these colors are available.
Right.
More of Nick's work, where he's done this really...
I like the herringbone in it.
Herringbone pattern. It looked almost braided when you first looked at it because it was really big. Peter Anthony. So this is hand carved. And A for effort, because this is just so cool. Hand carving Brutus on there. Like, that's...
There's definitely no way to spin that and sand.
No, absolutely not. And, you know, when you're whittling stuff down, like he whittled it into that shape and then painted it. And, like, that's totally custom, like 100% custom. And, yeah, you can do a little bit of sanding or whatever, but you're not going to be able to, like, spin it.
No.
Because you'll take off
Because you're taking off the details. You're taking off the shapes. And
that is a little hand sit there and carve it down and sand it and good to go. Rick Hill, very, very nicely done grips. This one's purple, but this is a purple wood. And he does a lot of, like, burning into the middle sections of his. So, like, this one to me reminds me of the old school wood grips you would see because it has just those two lines at the end where it kind of fans out a little bit. And he's got the Bush Light logo burned into it. And then we've got the Glock. All right, I included this picture because there's a story behind it. So Rick Hill, his grandson, spent 8 years in the Marines and as an embassy guard and as a consulate in Italy. And the red cedar grips are from Bill Ballou. The video he had on the actual post shows everything in detail on this one. And it's such a very nice rod. But he didn't have any actual photos of it other than him with his grandson. So I didn't want to exclude it because it's so cool. Another one of Rick's, he's got the lighter wood at the end, wood burned.
very traditional look.
Mm-hmm. Very nice, very clean. Another grip where he's wood burned into it. Or potentially with a laser, either one.
I think that's going to be laser.
Yeah, they're very precise.
Yes, definitely laser. There's no way. And I challenge anybody.
The Gibson
do this by
cursor
hand.
Is what gives it away a little bit. But, I mean, we all have machines and stuff nowadays that we can play with, and I see nothing wrong with it. But just very nicely done. Cool little butt cap he did. Another one of Rick's where Minnesota's put on there. He seems to stick to that traditional kind of style of
double trims and
which beautiful. And then this is kind of how that Marines rod was done, where he's got this one's the Tennessee Volunteers, where the Bulls.
Now I wonder if that is like a water slide put on top of it.
I mean, it's got to be something because it's. I mean, he's got the stripes, he's got the names, he's got the logos.
And still got the double trim.
Mm-hmm. So you can see the double trims under there. So he's probably painted it. He may have painted the stripes. He may have painted all of it. Maybe he's got a stencil. Who knows? He's got some more of these with Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Green Bay Packers. He's turned the wood, and then you can see it on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers really well. And then has decorated his foregrip with this stuff. And it looks really good. Another one of Rick's. Nice little fish pattern on that wrap, going in the traditional foregrip. And Robert Holcomb. So this one's fun. And this is a wood butt cap that he's actually gone back over with painted over some of the parts. Kind of following the little wood grain curves and stuff. And this is so cool by what Robert did. He's got little pieces of wood that he's put into a Girushi style.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's got the blue background.
Mm-hmm.
And fragmented little pieces of wood and stuck it in there like you would the shells.
Yeah.
And I never would have thought to use wood.
No.
Like, never. So imagine that one with the previous photo we just saw.
Yeah.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah,
right?
it does.
It's got strength. So this one is another gorgeous.
Is that rattan?
It looks like rattan, but I don't know. Like, is it rattan or is it birch bark that he's like
It's
bleached?
definitely not birch bark. That might be rattan.
If that's rattan, then I gotta have a conversation with him. And then but he's got the gorgeous wood for the end caps into the real seat. Like, that's a beautiful color. That's like kind of what I want my hardwood floors to look like.
Oh my gosh.
But the hair on them would be awful.
Y'all gotta buy more products for Mary.
I need extra vacuums. But just a
You're
beautiful.
talking about some high-end hardwoods. Whew.
I'm not. Look, my stuff can be fake as long as it comes up. I don't care. I don't care. I am not all about that. Like, it has to be the true thing. As long as it's durable with all these dog no-nails, we're fine. Nicely done. Like, and yes, I probably needed to reply to his photo and go, is that rattan? Because I want to see the backside of that.
I want to see
Did
the
you
whole
just wrap
thing.
that,
Like, take a video of that
can you do
grip.
a video and let it turn? Because I know the only other person I know that's done that was Mark. Because he tried to convince me to do it, and I just like, I don't want to do it. Wayne Didek.
First off, pull cue. And it's not a pull cue.
It's a fishing rod grip. Wayne Didek, obviously, in the center, looks just like the pull cue designs. And this man's a genius when it comes to these wood grips and stuff. I would go out on call him legend, because every time you see him do something, it's just mind-blowing. All these different turns and curves and dips and stuff like that. Like, just...
And then the inlay at the top.
Mm-hmm. And another one where he's actually gone and split the wood into multiple pieces and inlaid in a straight line, different colors, and then has all the different trims into it. Me personally, my mind can't handle trying to figure out how to do that right now. I'm sure eventually I will.
Because Alice has 300,000 tabs open.
I mean, you're not wrong.
With music playing in the background, going 100 down the highway.
Another one of Wayne Didek's. Again, just a crazy amount of these inlays. And this little zigzag running across the two pieces that he's done that lines up just perfectly, mixed with cork. So he's got all these as the butt caps. All the wood is the butt caps.
Or the trim in between where you put the cork.
Yeah, because that one right there with that's cork. Where he's got the little zigzag. Just insane. Another one of Wayne Didek's. Which, is that marble?
It would look that way, wouldn't it?
I'm hoping
a piece of marble.
I'm assuming that's acrylic.
It could be marble.
It could be marble, knowing Wayne. I don't know. But just gorgeous stuff. And, like, for instance, in this particular photo, like, we've got the cork mixing with that. He's just put on that one piece of wood on that in between the two different cork pieces going from the grip to the butt. And you can use wood as hosels or trim rings and stuff like that. You wouldn't have to do
winding checks.
Winding checks. You wouldn't have to do a whole grip. You could just do little pieces of it. Although if you're going to do winding checks and stuff like that, you kind of need a metal lathe for that one. Unless you're really good with your holding the skew.
Yeah.
More Wayne Didek's
mixed
work.
with carbon fiber. That's a good look. I like how the differentiating materials just work together.
Yep, because he's gone from the carbon fiber to the wood, back out to what appears to be cork, and then back to the wood. And the points, everything just fits so seamlessly. Another one of Wayne's. This is a great example of a herringbone mixed in with some trims and what appears to be ivory at the end. I have no idea.
Looks like a herringbone elliptical.
Oh, it's kind of like it's laced, if you will, like braided. And last but not least, my dear, is you. So here's Wes Christie's amazing birch bark grip. I give him credit for the grip because he actually did all the work in this grip. I just kind of helped him and helped also him fuss at the grip because it snapped. But he mixed it with the burls and birch bark. And it was, the top on it was just teakwood, right? You didn't put anything else?
It was just teakwood, I do believe. We might have put a sealer on it, but it wasn't like a gloss type thing.
We left it like natural looking.
Yeah.
And it feels so good. That's one of our favorite ones.
And then dug a hole in it.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see it in this
You can
photo or
if you go up.
Hold on. Well, right here on the middle photo, above the real seat inlet, is just this itty-bitty round black piece that is stuck in the cork. And anybody guess what that is for? A hook keeper. But yeah, we did a hook keeper because a lot of the fly guys want to stick their hooks in their grips and stuff, or they want to put it on their guides, and it's like, don't do that. So let's like build in a hook keeper.
No, I'm guilty of that. You know, I'm out fishing. It's just easy. Pop it in the cork and go to the next spot.
Yeah. No, we were trying to prevent anybody that potentially bought it, but nobody's bought it because the customer snapped the tip off before we got it sold.
Another project I need to fix and finish.
Yay. But it's just a tip. Like, literally, all we gotta do is just strip that one guide and put the tip on there. Like, we're just being lazy about it. We could have it fixed in a day. We're just kind of a little mad about it, too.
I'm still sour about it. Still sour.
Sour Patch Kids over here. All right, so we've been talking about all this awesome wood grips and stuff like that. What is going to be the product of the night?
Let me grab it.
That's
So
what
last
it's
week
like.
we discussed it a little bit, but actually finally put it together. So Foundation has come out with their G2 in the all white color. This was probably the easiest thing I've ever put together.
Well, yeah, everything's like real. Just slap it together. And
The
call it a
hardest
day.
part about it was the butt cap because it does come in 3 different sections. There is the centerpiece that goes inside, the rubber trim, and then there's actually a metal piece that you could actually change that metal piece out and put something else there because it literally just sticks in the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It is flat enough that you could put decals or labels or something like that on it, but they give you the option, if you can see it, to have the black on the edges so that you can get the black accents instead of just an all white.
But since we're talking about wood stuff tonight, we could
Replace
Replace
all of
this.
anything,
with the wood, and then you'd have this really cool looking
Yep.
build.
but it is the G2 carbon sets in white. And I have to say, the finish on this, I have beat this thing up putting it together. I mean, like our spine finder has raw open bearings in it, and this was all up on the bearings, and there's not a mark on it. Like, definitely something to think about.
And the whole series is just the Bushido line and the G2.
Bushido and G2. You can get casting or spinning. So if you're looking at them, and at the end of the grip, if the letter is C, it's casting. If the letter is S, it's for spinning. The spinning is designed to mate up to the arrow seat. The casting is designed to meet up to their G2 trigger seats.
Very, very cool. All right, so we want to give a big shout out to Foundation Outdoor Group for contributing to the show and allowing us to be able to give away awesome products and be able to tell you about upcoming events. They're actually in SoCal this week, hanging out.
PCS, Pacific Coast Show.
Yep, and they just had their rod builders reception last night, which I donated to from the Decorative Studio. My prize was basically a gift certificate to the entire school for the courses so that they could get access to all of them. I'm looking forward to seeing who won that and
Yeah.
hopefully get
They'll
them
put
on
it
a-
to use. So.
Yeah, because the out there on the Pacific Coast, they don't really do a whole lot of decorative wraps. So
Not like over here, no.
a lot of people just don't do it. So hopefully somebody will get to wrap it and make it a trend over there or something,
Yeah.
In conclusion, wood grips, wood real seat inserts. You can do trim rings. You can do winding jacks. You can do the real seat inserts.
You could
the
make a
butt-
wood seat, a
butt
wooden
caps.
reel seat.
You can make a wooden reel seat if you had a metal lathe to be able to turn all the threading and stuff. There's a lot of things that you can absolutely do with wood, and obviously the variations of different colors of wood and how to cut them. I pull a lot of inspiration
From woodworking.
woodworking 100%, especially things like knife
Cutting
makers.
boards.
I get on Pinterest and I find a whole bunch of stuff.
Pinterest is the devil.
Pinterest gives me too many ideas, but you could just look into woodworking patterns and then start kind of playing. I think wood is a little bit more forgiving in the sense that EVA, for instance, compresses so easily.
You can distort EVA more than wood.
Wood's not going to give on you. Wood is wood, Now wood's going to splinter, or you might not get the exact cut, and you have to but you can sand it and try to get it to sort itself out. But I'm actually kind of eager to play around with more designs than what I've done. But that one in itself proved that, yes, all these people doing all these exquisite awesomeness.
And you could
It's
do
just a
like
lot of
you've
work.
been doing and
The wood burning.
sell the
Yeah.
flat pieces.
Oh, well, I got a guy that wants me to do a flat.
Mm-hmm.
He wants me to wood burn a Pavlo helicopter. Ooh, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll, how long do I have to practice that one? He's like, December. I was like, I think I can make that happen. Oh, and the other thing is a lot of people get concerned about wood being too heavy. There's options, obviously, stick to the lighter woods, and, you're not going to have a problem with it. The other thing is you can
Balance the rod.
you can arbor them with something that's of a lighter wood on the inside.
It's a type of foam.
Yeah. a big
Or you
deal.
could just balance the rod.
Wes is a big believer. Obviously, some things are going to be super heavy, though. But
Yes,
balance is
but
really important.
Anybody that comes to me arguing about weight of a rod, I will shut them down because it needs to be balanced before you worry about how much it weighs. I'm just saying.
But
I'll argue that till I die.
I'm not arguing about the balance thing. I'm saying that if the grips, you make them and you put them on there and you get everything kind of like, and you realize it's too heavy, you got to take some
You can
weight
fix
out.
it, yeah.
That's what I'm referring to. I'm not arguing with your balance is key, because balance 100% is key for the most part.
But think of it this way. Most people when fishing want a tip up for majority of their applications because they're going to either bounce it along the bottom or they're going to work it, or however you're doing it. You want a little more weight in the butt of the rod behind the reel so that when you're holding it, it's not constantly just falling down because your guides are so heavy on that thin blank that's out there.
Right, and you're trying to pull it back up all day.
You may want to just think about it and balance it.
So thanks for hanging out with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. It's been fun as usual. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit. Hopefully you got inspired by something. And we hope...
And if you didn't, hopefully you laughed.
Hopefully you laugh, because that's the other fun side about hanging out with us too, because, you know, we don't ever take life too seriously. And I always mess up, and he always pokes fun at me, so it is what it is. Anyways, y'all have a great night, great day, whatever time you're listening to us or actively watching us on YouTube. And we will talk to you later. Bye.